Is it just going to be us two today? Nope.
You never know. Hey, Holly, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. I'm glad you are.
Yeah, the weather's I'm actually feeling this weather. It's cooled down a little bit.
Isn't it nice? I can
Yes,
I can handle this weather.
for sure.
Hi, Ashley. How are you today?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thank you. Hope you're doing okay too.
Yeah, I bought some stuff on your site last night.
I know. I saw that earlier and I was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. That was so nice. Like, I don't know, it's cool when people that I know or talk to and stuff like that make an order. So, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Just wanted to, I thought the little mushrooms were neat, but I also wanted to see the whole delivery, the whole execution.
Yeah, well, orders are gonna go out today, so we ship out like twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. So yeah, expect to see tracking soon.
Cool. Well, it doesn't have too far to go. Hopefully it won't take too long, right?
Yeah, hopefully not. I mean, I don't ship a lot inside of North Carolina, but I don't expect it to take very long, usually like 3 to 5 days or something like that.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how it all works out. I've had some people tell me in other parts of the country that they've had problems with the U.S. mail, in that just kind of random slow ups to different parts of the country, particularly to Chicago and to Dallas for some reason.
I haven't sent much out there, so I am not entirely sure. I've never really had issues. The only issues with things like not arriving was simply due to like the customer putting in the wrong address or something like that for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah, what these folks are doing, a couple of them are switching to UPS for all their packages, and another is switching to FedEx Ground for the holiday season, just because they've had situations where, you know, it's what's normally a 2 or 3 day thing has taken 2 weeks. So they feel like when the holiday rush comes, it's only going to be worse. So it's just something to be aware of.
Yeah, hopefully it won't be too bad. I've only experienced like one Christmas or so with this business, so
Yeah.
I don't have enough, I guess, experience to see exactly how that's gonna be.
Yeah, no, I think Taylor might be helpful to talk to. I think she's been through maybe 2 Christmases, maybe 3, I'm not sure.
Yeah, totally. I'd love to connect with her more. I connected with her recently and asked her about that small business group that she does sometimes, so I'm definitely gonna try to connect with her there and go sometime when I can.
Good.
Yeah.
Good, fantastic. All right, well, I don't know, we may not have too big a crowd today, but that's okay. I think I'll, oh, there's Sawyer. Hey, Sawyer.
Hey, how's it going?
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. And normally I have to let people in, but today people seem to be able to get right in. So I'm not quite sure what setting is different, but you know, if people get in, great, and if they don't, I'll try to keep an eye on them and let them in. So yesterday we talked about branding, and we were fortunate to have the videos from Techstars, and the guy, I can't remember his name right now, but he did a really good job, I think. He talked fast and he was covering a lot of material, but luckily you can go back and look at the video whenever you want. But he had some really interesting things to say, I thought. And he talked about repetition. He talked about everyone in the organization saying the same thing when somebody asks, what do you do? Which has to do with brand positioning and brand messaging. So he had some really good tips in there and things that to me are not that intuitive. You know, a lot of that stuff, you know, to me, if I see something repeated 4 or 5 times, I'm sick of it. So 28 is like off the charts from my perspective. But you know, that's just stuff to think about. You know, what I'm going to talk a little bit about today, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have, but what I'm going to do today is I'm going to share some brand marketing videos. Now we've talked about still photos and videos, and we heard Mo Farhat of Webinopoly tell us that the cost of video ads is far less per impression, which I don't know if any of you had tested that out, but I was surprised by that. Now, what I'm going to show you, I realize in some cases they're pretty significant budgets. These are organizations that are pretty big. But what I'm looking for is just to give you a sense of how they do it and what the objective is. How you might do it or how you would actually produce a video may be very different, but I think learning particularly the emotional connection. I think we've talked about this and we've heard people talk about it, but the emotional connection is far more important and stronger than, for example, an intellectual connection. You know, people can connect on lots of different ways, but by far the most powerful way to connect is through emotion. And I'm going to have a guest speaker on here who's not listed yet, but he's one of the leading guys in emotional messaging in the country. He works with all the big pharmaceutical companies. He's a good friend of mine. And I'm going to get him on here to talk about making the emotional connection with your customers. So today what I'm going to do, I've got a series of videos. I'm going to show them. If you have any questions or thoughts, you can put it in the chat, or you can wait till we're done with the videos and we'll dig in a little more deeply. Okay, so hang in there. So hopefully everybody can see this screen. Holler if you can. This is part of a series from Dove that they've actually been running for about, I think, 7 years, maybe longer. It's one of the longest lasting marketing campaigns, I think, in history. And I think you'll find this pretty compelling when you realize that this is a company that basically sells soap. And take a look at what they're doing and how they're trying to get a message across about their brand.
I always thought people were so cute when they have the little cheeks and they're like rosy, but mine are pretty plain. If I was gonna change one feature about my face, I would say that I would want fuller lips.
I'm definitely a person that looks tired when I'm tired, and when people say that, I immediately am like, oh man. I'm starting to already get little crow's feet and stuff, which like my mom has, so yeah.
I'm a forensic artist. I was trained at the FBI Academy in 1993 in composite art. Worked for the San Jose Police Department as the police artist from 1995 to 2011.
We didn't really know what we were doing, so that was nerve-wracking for everyone.
I showed up to a place I'd never been and walked into this big warehouse, and at the very end there was a guy with his back to me with a drafting board.
I had a curtain separating me so that I don't see him. We'll begin. First of all, tell me about your hair.
Brown, long, I guess a little bit past my shoulders.
Your jaw.
My mom told me I had a big jaw. Yeah, they're brown eyebrows, dark brown eyebrows.
Okay.
I didn't know what he was doing, but then I could tell after several questions that he was drawing me.
Tell me about your chin.
I guess I haven't really compared it to anyone else's chin, but especially when like I smile, I just feel like it kind of protrudes a little bit.
What would be your most prominent feature?
I kind of have a fat, rounder face.
The older
I want to be sure that everyone can see this. Is that right? Everyone can see the video?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, great.
I've gotten, the more freckles I've gotten.
You sort of realize, oh man, now I have to talk about myself and think about my looks.
I'm 40, so I'm starting to get a little bit of the crow's feet thing going on.
Once I get a sketch, I say thank you very much, and then they leave. I don't see them.
I still didn't know. All I had been told before the sketch was to get friendly with this other woman, Chloe.
Today I'm going to ask you some questions about a person you met earlier, and I'm going to ask you some general questions about their face.
She was thin, so you could see her cheekbones. And her chin was a nice, thin chin.
The women were really critical about moles or scars or things like that, and yet they were describing just a normal, beautiful person.
She had nice eyes. They lit up when she spoke and were very expressive.
The length of the nose, what is that like?
Short.
Short.
Yeah, cute nose.
Her face was fairly thin.
She had blue eyes, very nice blue eyes.
Okay. So this is your self-described image? And then somebody else described you and I did this sketch.
I have this whole thing about having dark circles and crow's feet around my eyes, and that was not part of the sketch at all that the stranger did. The stranger's was a little more like gentle.
It's really different. Which is very strange.
She looks closed off and fatter. She just looks kind of shut down. Sadder, too. The second one is more beautiful.
You think they're catching more of that from you?
Yeah. She looks more open and friendly and happy. I've come a long way in how I see myself, but I think I still have some way to go.
I have some work to do on myself.
Do you think you're more beautiful than you say?
Yeah. Yeah. Chloe's perception was so clearly different. Her picture looked like somebody I thought I would want to talk to and be friends with, like a happy, light, much younger, much brighter person. It's troubling. I should be more grateful of my natural beauty. It impacts the choices and the friends that we make, the jobs we apply for, how we treat our children. It impacts everything. It couldn't be more critical to your happiness.
Our self-perceptions are generally kind of harsh and unbecoming when really that's not how the world sees us. We spend a lot of time as women analyzing and trying to fix the things that aren't quite right, and we should spend more time appreciating the things that we do like.
She's just very caring and loving, but in a way that's strong. I don't think my mother thinks she's beautiful.
I walked down the stairs. I went into the dining room area.
Hi, welcome to Dove's Google Plus Hangout.
Hi.
There was a laptop, and on the other side was a gentleman who was in California, and he started asking me to describe myself in ways I'd never been asked to describe myself before.
My name is Gil Zamora, and I'm a forensic artist. I could hear the women, but I couldn't see them. I was sitting away from the computer. And overall, your face shape was what?
It did make me feel uncomfortable being asked to describe myself. You know, I felt it was something so personal.
I feel I have a high forehead.
Do you wear it in front of your shoulders or behind your shoulders?
Well, my hair is very thin.
My nose is puggish.
So you said puggish? What do you mean by that?
I have a few small freckles on my face.
My chin is a little bit of a double chin.
Tell me about your neck.
Problematic.
What do you mean by that?
It's starting to sag.
After the sketch is complete, I say thank you, and they leave.
I see her always smiling. Her smile takes over her face.
The features that we probably most prominently share are noses and face shape. Her skin is very soft. I look at her now and I think, amazing, I'm gonna look like that when I'm older.
The women didn't know that we were actually having their daughters describe them.
I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's a warmer and more complimentary version. And it's nice to know that someone thinks of you that way. You don't hear it every day.
I've learned that a lot of people don't feel that they're as beautiful as what they actually are.
I like that that's how I'm thought of in my daughter's eyes. I feel loved.
I like the way Kelsey Ann has described me. I do feel that it is a more beautiful picture.
Okay, we'll just take a second here. The two things that are, I think, interesting here, there's a whole bunch to unpack. But what I like about this is particularly the second video, that it was done online through Zoom meeting or whatever it was, Google Meet. So I think that's important to realize that even in our current situation, there are things that we can do if we wanted to do something along these lines. And you know, these to me are both videos, particularly the first one, are very, very powerful, very emotional. I don't know if any of you all want to comment on the videos, if you felt the same way, if you felt like it spoke to you. Any comments, anybody?
They were definitely very powerful.
Yeah, I actually cried when I looked at them this morning, just a little bit, because, you know, especially the one where people, you know, had a stranger, someone they just met, describe how they look compared to how they describe themselves. I thought that was very, very, very powerful. Anyone else? Okay, now what I'm going to attempt to do is find my playlist that I'm working on here. Okay, hold on a second now. Okay. There we go. Okay. So this is another one that I think you all will enjoy. You might remember the branding guy talking about how successful Coca-Cola was in doing branding compared to Pepsi. And so this is a short video that I think makes that point pretty well.
Hey, brother, there's an endless road to rediscover. Hey, brother, know the world is sweet, but blood is thicker. Oh, if the sky comes falling down for you, there's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. What if I'm far from home? Oh, brother, I will hear you call. If the sky comes falling down for you, there's nothing in this world I wouldn't do.
Okay, I thought that one's really good. So this next one is an online site that sells dog-related toys, I guess. And this one is only 40 seconds long. And since many of you sell products, I thought conceptually this idea might work.
The strength of women is like that of water.
Okay, so this is, we just got a couple more to go. This one is a apparel business. You may be familiar with them. But this I thought was a pretty good way of building brand and delivering a social message.
We have the ability to be both soft and powerful. The stories we're told as girls about what we can and can't do, I'm done with hearing those stories. I'm done with seeing girls believe those stories. What I want to see happening more is that we rise by lifting others. And the success of all is the success of one.
I'm a friend.
One more here, and then that will be it.
I found my birth mom and sisters with 23andMe.
She called me, she said, guess who this is? If we knew that 23andMe could find her, we would have done it in a heartbeat.
Just to get to hold her again and just look at her and see the beautiful woman she's become.
I found my
Okay, so let me start my video. For some reason that did not come on, I apologize. So the message here really is, you know, telling a story that reinforces what your brand is about is different than a commercial about a product or a service. All of us are fortunate to have the internet, whether it's your website or your app or your social media, whatever it is. But we all equally have a platform, whereas when I was younger, the only way to use video was to buy a television commercial, really, which obviously was really, really expensive, and the production was very hard to get in a way that you'd be happy to use. Now, there are resources at ECU. I'm not sure exactly how that all works, but last night there was a presentation made by a person who works for ECU News Service, who has been a television anchor and video guy for 20 years. And he gave a presentation, which I believe was recorded, and Brady, maybe you can track this down. But he gave a presentation on how to do a 2-minute video about your company. And I thought it was really good, and it's really not expensive. There's a lot of fundamentals that he went over that all of you can do and use with your cell phone cameras, or if you have a GoPro or something else. But I think that session, if we can figure out how to get that to you all, access to it, was really, really good. And creating a 1 to 2 minute video is really not that difficult. And so I would encourage all of you to look into that, whether it's for an ad on Facebook or Instagram or any of the other platforms, or whether it's for your website, as kind of an introduction. I find in talking to each of you individually, you have really great stories about how you've gotten to where you are today. I find them to be very interesting, and I'm sure plenty of customers would feel that way, but it's difficult to get that engagement, that personal engagement, and video allows you to do that. There are a ton of apps on there if you start searching around of how to create videos, or apps that actually let you do the video, add text to it, special effects, all that kind of stuff. I'm not an expert on that. I don't pretend to be, but I'm pretty sure there's ways to get that done in the community for an affordable way, or even you to learn how to do it yourself. But given that the video seems to be less expensive than still images, at least as far as Facebook goes and Instagram, I think it behooves all of us, particularly with the holiday season coming up, if there is a message that you'd like to communicate to your customers and your prospects and your ecosystem, if that's the right word to use. I think that some of these tactics, the emotional collection, if you will, or emotional surfacing strong emotions, all that stuff really helps with your brand and making it stand out from the sea of options that we all have. And again, I don't think it's that difficult to do. So I'm going to ask some of you what your thoughts are about this. I'm going to start with a guy who's used a lot of video, and that's Cameron Higley.
Sorry, my mic was messing up. Yeah, I think video is, for us, has definitely been one of the things that we've seen a lot more engagement on recently. We've tried to kind of implement the just random old school clips of video, and not only that, but with our product as well, just with models, and kind of giving a better look of the product than just a flat lay picture of it.
Are you producing these yourselves, or how are you going about making these videos?
A majority of the time we just do it on the phone. There's so many different apps now that you can make pretty solid product videos just from an iPhone, but we also have photographers that we hire if we have a bigger project that we want to do.
Okay, if you wouldn't mind, Cameron, putting on the Slack channel some of those apps that you found helpful that the others might be able to get access to, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to ask Will. Now, Will, your business is by definition video, and certainly with the drones. What are your thoughts on this subject?
I was told a long time ago it's better to show than tell. And so having visual aids in any situation is always going to be a stronger tool to use because people buy things emotionally and they back it logically, as we're learning over the past couple of days. One thing that I am implementing into our business over the next year and really moving forward is changing the way I give presentations, especially with the constraints of COVID right now. Being able to give presentations on a large scale, potentially more high frequency with a Zoom meeting and production value added into it, I think is really going to help us to reach a customer base in a more scalable way than necessarily just traveling to offices and doing presentations by hand and being there.
Fantastic. You know, Zoom, there's a lot, you can do a lot with the different cameras that work with Zoom. You know, you can actually use your iPhone as a webcam. There's software that does that. I've used some pretty successfully. It's higher resolution than most of the webcams. So there is a lot. And you saw in that second Dove commercial, whatever you want to call it, they actually executed their idea using Zoom. I think they use Google Meet, but it's the same thing as Zoom or WebEx or whatever. I thought that was very powerful, and hopefully it gives you guys ideas of how you might be able to assemble maybe a handful of customers and record that on Zoom, and then you can edit it and help it create some of these opportunities. So that's good to know, Will. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And one thing too about the Zoom meetings is I can record them and then send them to the person that invited us to put on the presentation, and that person could potentially spread it out amongst everybody that's my target audience without me having to do any more extra work potentially.
Yeah, look into how you put tags on video, because that can help you as it starts to get spread around to different people. The tags can kind of keep you aware of where it's going and where it's being played and so forth. So that's something to look into.
Absolutely.
Okay, I was going to ask Ashley Nolan. Ashley, any reaction to you? You have some very personal objects and artwork that you've done. How have you thought about video, if at all?
Well, I haven't really done a whole lot of videos lately, but I really do want to get more into doing that. So today even, because a lot of the photos I take are, you know, that's how I promote my product, just photos. So today I'm doing like a try it on kind of thing and pair pieces together and put it on and kind of show videos and photos of like how these things are worn, because a lot of people, they just can't visualize it on a person. They can't. So that's what I'm trying to do today, kind of, is something new that I've never done before. I've thought about other videos. I just have never gotten around to doing them because I guess I have ideas, but finding the time to actually put that into play has been more of a struggle for me. I'm not like a video person. I just like to create pieces and stuff, not really that kind of thing. But I definitely like the idea of videos because I think that really shows a lot of like, you know, the person behind the pieces, as well as, you know, just a lot more to do with the pieces. Like, I guess it helped building that trust and stuff too.
Yeah, and I think also them getting to know, not just a matter of trust, but also who is this person on the other end of this website, and you know, what do I want to know about them? What can I learn about them from a video? And I think also on top of that, you could also look at podcasts. Podcasts are traditionally not video. Some are, I realize, but a lot of them are audio only. So podcasts might be a play from a marketing perspective, whether you get invited onto someone else's podcast and you can be a guest, or if you create your own and you invite people on. So we'll cover podcasting. I haven't quite figured out how to put that together for this group, but you know, I think there's a lot of opportunity there. Maybe I hadn't really thought about, but thank you, Ashley. I appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's just a matter of being comfortable speaking in a video and just being in a video in general. Just so I think, obviously, I'm trying to do that more often now and just get comfortable with it and more confident with like how I talk about certain things. But I'm excited about that. And a lot of people, you know, whenever I post a video, they'll respond to it. Or if I post a photo wearing a piece, you know, sometimes people will go ahead and buy that piece just because, even if I've had it for a long time, they see someone wearing it and they want to go ahead and buy it because they know what it looks like on. But yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think, you know, spending a little bit of time figuring out what you need, whether it's a cell phone or something else, but I think a little tripod can come in handy. And in some cases, I think they're called gimbals. Some of you may know more about this than I do, but by using a gimbal, you can remove kind of the shake and vibration from video, especially if you're walking around or you're trying to describe something that, you know, involves movement. The gimbal will allow it to have that smooth look instead of herky-jerky and so forth. So I think figuring out, and I'll see if I have a little checklist of what works as far as tripods and gimbals and all that kind of thing. I'll try to post it.
Hey, real quick, Dennis. So I
Yeah.
have one of those gimbals, and it's a DJI Osmo 3, I believe it was called. It was like
Okay.
$130, and it actually has a feature on there where I can trace my face and it follows me around. So I can set it up stationary and I can just walk around as I'm talking, and the gimbal kind of just follows me. And again, it's really stable and smooth.
Very cool. Yeah, if you could post that on Slack, that would be great to know. I've not heard of that. I'm not sure I want something tracing my face, but anyway, I think that's a really cool idea. And especially when you're trying to do everything yourself, using technology to help you makes a lot of sense. I'm gonna, go ahead, Brady.
I was gonna say I could vouch. I've seen the behind the scenes of Sawyer's work with that, and it's truly awesome. If especially if it is just yourself, even if it's only every now and then you need a video yourself. I mean, it's just cool because it's quality too, and it's so stable. I mean, being able to see, like, if Sawyer's on one side of the room and walks to the other side, you know, it'll automatically turn and, you know, follow him properly. So he stays like centered and stuff. It's really cool, and I think worth it.
Very cool. Sawyer, have you gotten involved with any like attached microphones or anything related to that, or you just use the microphone on the phone?
85% of the time, Dennis, my roommate, he does the videography stuff, so he has microphones he'll attach to me. I just really do the gimbal self-tracking videoing whenever I'm like kind of by myself or at the gym in the mornings. I have another tripod too, which I actually use way more than the gimbal, and it was like $13 off Amazon, and it can extend up to like 6 feet tall. So again, I use that one more than I do the expensive one.
Okay, very cool.
And as far as
I'll put links to both of those in that Slack chat. I'll put links to both of those in the Slack chat.
Much appreciated.
As far as the creating the best pitch video goes from last night, I just got it and it's uploading to YouTube. It should be done. Hopefully I can share the link before you guys get off this call.
Fantastic. And the guy who did it is an employee of ECU. He works in the news department, and I feel pretty sure if you were to reach out to him, and particularly those of you that, you know, either are still at ECU or recently, I think he'd be delighted to give you some tips for free. You know, I don't know how much freedom he has to do stuff, but I thought he was really good and really helpful. Marcus Eamon, since you're really more on the app side than web side, do you have any thoughts about the use of video as it relates to your app or your marketing?
Yeah, well, absolutely. So video, even for a software tech business, is just as important as a product, a physical product that you're selling. You have to tell a story, and you have to be able to connect with the person on the other end that's the buyer. So what, you know, how can you tell that story? And generally, for what we're doing, it's around pain. You know, where are the pain points for our customer? And then that's where our video you know, comes into play. And even for investors, you know, I mean, having a strong video that like when you're cold emailing or you know, reaching out to investors, having a video for them to watch to learn more about your company, you know, is really important too, because you could also show them what your product does or what your company actually does inside of the video, so they have more of an emotional attachment to it. But yeah, go ahead.
How do you do your videos? How do you produce them?
It's all in-house. You know, I mean, of course, I mean, why would we spend money to do it if we could do it ourselves? Is the mentality that we have. We have a crowdfund raise that's coming up, and we had to create a video for that. And you know, some of the companies that reached out to us were going to charge us like $10,000 or $12,000 just to, you know, produce a 2 or 3 minute video for us. Of course, it was going to be high quality, but we put our brains together and did it ourselves. And that's what you got to do, I think, in the early, you know, early stages of your company. You don't have, you know, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 to just give away for, content. You can create it yourself, but when you're a founder, you've got all these other things that you need to be doing. And sometimes it's not great for you to spend, 4 hours on, making a perfect video. But if you can save 15 grand, it is.
Well, I think what Marcus is talking about obviously rings true for all of us. But one thing to keep in mind, Marcus talked about needing a video for a specific purpose, in his case, crowdfunding. I would make the case that you really need to think about video and video production as a fundamental that you have to have in your business, just like you think of your website or other things. And there may be opportunities, Brady could probably comment on this better, but there may be opportunity with interns at ECU, or I'm not sure what's available in terms of opportunities to get some of this stuff done. But there may well be, or at Pitt Community College, there may be an opportunity to get some projects done.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what ECU is offering right now, just due to the whole situation with COVID. That I could check with David. We could talk about specifics.
Yeah, they have ECU has a design lab that's actually technically part of the Honors College, but they may have something there that's helpful, to the group. And I don't know if they allow, non-students or how all that works, but there's quite a bit of equipment down there, and it's more in the area of 3D printing and so forth. But there may be resources around the area that can take advantage of. But and in some of your all's cases, I think you can make a perfectly good video. You just have to make it a priority. And I think it's important. And if any of you want to comment on this, but I think storyboards, where you lay out even if it's just crude drawings of the story you want to tell. I think my point in playing these highly emotional videos for this class was, they are not pitching a product or a service. In fact, you may not even be aware it's a soap company that's doing it, unless you happen to know Dove is a soap. And I think that's a really important message also, is about, what do you stand for? What is your company about? And what message are you trying to communicate? In today's market, with the emphasis on experiences versus buying stuff, I think it's important to share, with your community and your prospects, what you're all about and what you're trying to do. And, it's going to take some time to think that through, but I think storyboarding that out, planning out your video, even if it's done on the cheap, will make a huge difference in the story that it tells. Go ahead, Marcus. Did you have something?
Yeah, I think it also helps you too with if you're running social campaigns like Facebook or social campaigns. Like if you're trying to you create a video about your product and you have subtitles on the video, so that the person that you're trying to reach may be involved at they may be working a full-time job, but they're scrolling Facebook while they're in the bathroom, and they come across your company while they're in the bathroom, but instead of having to listen to the voice of it, they can read the subtitles. Thinking about things that way, I think is important. I failed forward a lot. That's why I know that. Running campaigns, doing A/B tests on Facebook. And if you do that, those are way highly more successful than just running a regular video without subtitles.
Okay. So is the subtitle, is that the same thing as captioning?
Yeah, captioning, yes.
Okay. Just want to be sure.
And so the viewer can read what you're saying.
Great. Now, some of you are posting tools that you've used, services that you've used. I think that's really great. If anybody, as they get into this, if they come up with a great way to do captioning or whatever, please don't hesitate to share it. No one in the group is out to compete directly with you. I am going to ask Holly at White's Farm to just comment about, video, the potential use of video on something like a visit to a farm store. Holly, do you have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, it's actually something that I started to dabble in 2020 at the beginning of this year, but then COVID hit and it kind of put a halt on a lot of things that we planned on doing. As you can only imagine, it's really hard to bring a farm up to this century and, you know, kind of try to keep with the times. But it's definitely something I'm trying to explore. I see where the future is digital. It's just really hard to sometimes incorporate a farm because it is so tangible and people want to touch it and they want to have that farm experience. However, I do believe that we could possibly incorporate that into a video and give them that experience that also gets them out to our establishment as well.
Yeah, I think
so that's my goal.
Yeah, I think the Dove commercial where they used Zoom to do the mother and daughter thing is a perfect example of an adaptation. You know, the first video we saw, they had a big warehouse and so forth, and everybody came and went. And then they did essentially the same thing, or much the same thing, and they did it digitally. And I think, you know, my own reaction to a farm, you know, particularly when I used to live in the city, which I have for most of my life, I would like to see a farm, you know, especially if I can't get there. So to be able to experience aspects of it, whether it's, you know, a funny little thing like I don't know, you know, some animal doing something funny or whatever. But I don't underestimate the power of being able to demonstrate something that is not readily accessible to a lot of people, like visiting a farm. So
yeah, and that's one of the things we usually channel school tours and school groups, and that obviously gets the kids out there, which then brings the parents. But obviously that didn't happen, and it looks like it's not going to happen again for 2021. So it's just a struggle trying to find a common balance that we can do to incorporate it. Obviously, I'm not very technical savvy, so I appreciate everybody dropping the hints in the Slack because I will be looking at that and just really bringing it up to speed because it's definitely a challenge if, you know, everything that you bank on is tangible and people want to touch it, but you can invoke emotion. And, you know, coming to a farm and picking strawberries or picking pumpkins is a tradition. That's what people do, and I think a lot of families nowadays are looking for that experience.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going to go to Darby George. Darby has used video quite a bit, it seems like. I've at least seen a couple. Do you have any comments, Darby, about video and your use of it?
Well, I think video is a great tool for us. Allows us to show our space and, you know, give people ideas of what they can do. And actually, I've been working to try to do 1 to 2 videos a week. I will say the hardest part of doing videos is the editing. Came to work early this morning and spent several hours, you know, getting another video ready. But like the equipment I use, I do have one of the gimbals, works really great. And most of what I use are, you know, my current cell phone and previous phones. So I can do, you know, multi-camera views. I'm still learning a lot with the editing, but, you know, our goal is to create a video that's short enough to basically tell a story, show a project, but not long enough to where you get bored and go find something else to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, I think in your case, you know, you have a destination, you're trying to attract a specific type of consumer. And so they need to get enough information to verify that they do, in fact, want to come and kick the tires in person. So that makes a lot of sense to me that you would have that objective. So,
yeah.
Anybody else have anything on the subject they want to add? Will, you got something in your mind?
Yeah, if you don't mind, real quick, I just shared a link to vMix Studios. It's for live streaming and also Zoom meetings. It's for adding production value. You can put overlays. So if you want to make it more like Sports Center and have like captions underneath and like interactive stuff, you can also fade out and fade into videos. So you can actually add a lot of high level production to your streaming through this software. I'm currently building a studio in my house, like I was saying, so I can scale this for what my purpose is. And recently I just bought 10 gimbals for our entire team. We create videos almost every day for real estate professionals. So this is our wheelhouse, but we've really niched it. And if there's any advice I could say is tell the story exactly how you want. And really, like you said, Marcus, like you know, try to find people on Fiverr and try to do it yourself as just cheaply as possible, because you will save money. Because I mean, we about charged a company $12,000 per video at a rate of 50 of them to go travel the country to create videos for convention centers, and COVID kind of hurt us on that one. But people will spend the money, but you could also do it very cheaply. So that's kind of all I got to say on that.
Fantastic, Will. And since you are so involved, any tips that you have, whether it's what kind of camera to use or get, please don't hesitate to put that out there on the Slack channel. So
yeah, if anybody wants to reach out to me and just pick my brain on this subject, feel free to do so. Always here to help anybody I can.
Fantastic. Well, that's all I have. I don't know if anybody else has anything they want to share or insights. So let's see. I think, let me just check something real quick here.
I just shared the pitch video from last night. It's in the daily meeting tab on Slack.
Thank you. Fantastic. Okay. Tomorrow I've got on the calendar, ask me anything. And I don't know if we need to do that or not. I may come up with something, unless you guys feel the need to ask a bunch of questions, or if you want others, that you have questions for, whether it could be David Mayo or Brady or any of us. But I think that's probably overkill for a whole session. So I'll figure something out that will be germane to this discussion, because I really think branding is the most important thing we can do, with our small companies to set ourselves apart. And we've got a lot of talent here. Some of you are really good artists and visionaries. So I really believe you can really set yourself apart. And so stay tuned on that. I'm not quite sure what I want to do. The next day is Thursday. We have a guest speaker, and his name is Tom Newell. Tom is one of my oldest friends. He was my lawyer for many years. He ended up being the CEO of the largest senior living company in the United States. And then he ended up doing the same thing in the UK. And he just recently sold that company. But he has shared a video that he wants you guys to watch, a short video by a guy named Simon Sinek. So hopefully you have that. It's somewhere on the Slack channel or whatever, but try to watch that video, because Tom's going to talk about that. And Tom is an interesting guy in the sense that he really is a global level CEO, and he has worked in the billions of dollars with his projects and stuff. They're really large, significant projects. So I think there's a lot to learn from him. He's a great guy. He's done a lot of work at UVA in a similar arena. And he's really excited to be addressing you guys. So if you do get a chance to see that video, I encourage you to look at it. It's a really good video anyway, and it's not real long. But Tom is a can't miss to talk to. He doesn't do this kind of thing very often, so I feel very blessed that we're going to get his time and attention. And he's a good connection for everybody here in one way or the other. So with that, unless somebody has something, anybody got anything they want to add or say? Okay. Well, with that, I'll wish you goodbye and see you tomorrow.
All right. Thank you, guys. Y'all have a good day.
Okay. Bye-bye.
See you guys.
Bye. Bye, everyone.